What up guys, welcome back to Underneath the Veil at Marigolds, and today I am back with a different video, not for the Necromancy series, but we'll get back to that later. I am here with a video about how to tether your magic. So this is a topic that I haven't seen discussed. I'm not trying to blatantly disregard anybody who's created videos on this content. It was hard to find in YouTube search. If you're a smaller channel and you went over this, and you went over it in detail, I didn't see it because algorithm really sucks for smaller channels. So I'm gonna go over it, explain to you what it is, how to do these things, and my 2 cents on it. If you're interested, then stick around. Tethering is a magical technique where you can tie the essence of life to an object, like your spell. So for people who are afraid of backlash, hexing or cursing, or taking someone else's blessings, magic is a give and take. You have to take energy in order to manipulate it into the outcome that you're looking for. If you are doing a working to get a new job, somebody else has to lose a job, regardless if you said that or not, because there's a balance that has to be kept in life. Regardless if you knew that or not, that's just my perspective, and you don't have to believe in my beliefs, okay? This is just how I see it. That person could lose their job, whoever it may be. It's gonna be a complete stranger, typically. It could literally be your partner, and then you found the job of your dreams. So now your partner has no job, but you got it. Bomb has job all of a sudden. I'm just trying to find a quick example. And those of you who are afraid of karma, I don't believe in karma, so I don't really care to do this personally. If I'm going to tether something, it's gonna be for a different reason. But if you are thinking about hexing or cursing an individual and you are afraid of backlash, then you want to tether. So then it doesn't come on to you. But also, you should have wards, because at the end of the day, negative energy is negative energy. And if you are hexing or cursing another practitioner and you are afraid of lashback and of them returning that shit to you, if you have wards up, they are meant for negative energy. They are meant for baneful magic to be captured, to be absorbed. You didn't specifically program that ward to say all negative baneful magic that's not from me to get captured in this ward. No, you just said capture it, all of it, any ill intent. So if they return that shit to you, then your wards are still picking it up and disposing of it before it can hit you. So people who don't have a good concept or grasp on how wards work and how you can make them. There are different types. There's passive wards, there are active wards, there are wards that can trigger in your dreams if you want them to, because your magic needs to be specific in order for you to get the best results out of it. And of course, when I start this video, there's somebody sawing super fucking loud in the background or hacking their fucking hedges or something, I don't know, somewhere across the street, but either way, that's the luck. This energy exchange, I don't know if some of you guys have watched The Witcher or not. And in season 1, when Yennefer was in school at Artusa, there was this scene where she was holding a flower and there was a rock on her desk. And she was supposed to use the flower's energy to levitate the rock. So that flower was dying because she was taking that essence from that flower and manipulating the energy into what she needed it for, which was to levitate the rock. Now, if she did it wrong, which another girl next to her did in that scene, it was eating at their body instead of the object that they were supposed to be extracting that life force from. If you're constantly trying to pull from your own energy, you are going to be drained. That is life force essence. And that goes for the same with necromancy. And I've already said that way too many times. So those of you who are following the necromancy series, I've already said that 10 million times, and it's probably fucking irritating by now, but I really want, I want y'all to pick up what I'm putting down, damn it. That's typically the exchange that I'm trying to tell you about. I'll insert an image on here somewhere. Hopefully I can find an image of that online somewhere of her doing that. I thought that series portrayed the transference of energy very well. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's like my favorite series. Yennefer is like the most baddest sorceress around. That was a good lesson to all practitioners that are not tethering and just willy-nilly casting some spells and they're not quite sure where that source comes from. These are things that you have to think about. Like, so you made a love spell. now your best friend break up, or it could be going bad and eventually it leads to a breakup, or she gets divorced, or she's just having a hard time finding a romantic partner because you are taking from that source. A lot of the time it is going to be a complete stranger. So kind of good news, kind of bad news if you got a conscience. So this is where tethering comes into play. With tethering, you can tether more than one spell to one object. And I'm going to go over the objects. I have a bunch of things written down because I wanted to remember what the fuck I was going to tell you. So you can tether to things like bugs, spiders, crickets. Sadly, you can tie it to things like pets, like your pet hamster or your dog. You can tether to plants, which is a preferred method. If you don't have a green thumb or you can't grow shit to save your life, then this probably isn't going to be for you. And if you are somebody who lives in an apartment or a house, you want to make sure that plant already can pretty much stay alive on its own. So then you can tell if it's backlash from the spell that you cast or not. It will slowly eat at this plant's life force, and it should be dying pretty much unexpectedly in an unnatural kind of way. So if that plant looked absolutely healthy and all of a sudden it's fucking dying out of the blue and pretty rapidly, then you can tell what happened there with that spell. Plants that actually live without much maintenance inside your home can be a snake plant, pothos, spider plant. There's plenty of plants that can survive pretty well inside that need minimal maintenance. Those are going to be your best friends if you don't have a green thumb and you're not good at keeping shit alive. So then you can really tell what's happening with your energy transference there. So let's move on to the rest of the things that you can tether, and then I will go into a little bit more detail about those certain objects, okay? So you can use candles. I would suggest using a bigger candle, like a 7-day knob candle or just a 7-day candle that come in like the big glass tall jar looking things. Or you can just make a big fat short candle if you have wax. So, and that can be a tether. You can carve sigils into it that pertain to the spell work that you've done. So if you have a petition, and you can make a mimic petition of that, and on the back of it, or another piece of paper, put it inside a petition, fold it up, place it underneath the candle, and that's going to be the tether. Or you can just draw it marker onto the candle, or if you really want to take time and engrave carefully that sigil onto the candle, then that could be a tether as well. So this candle would have to burn all the way out, and that's going to take a while. It's going to be 7 days. A lot of people are afraid of, their place catching on fire, which I get. I understand. I don't want my place to catch on fire either, because where the fuck am I going to stay if it burns to the ground, right? You don't necessarily have to keep that candle burning every single day, but if you are really hyper concerned about catching backlash, I would submerge the glass base of the candle like in a bowl of water. So if something does happen, the water's going to catch it if you want to burn it for 7 days straight. If not, just light it once every day when you're in the general area or at home, so you can keep an eye on it if you're afraid of your place burning down. Well, that is one method, and that's one method because the source of the energy is fire. It's an active energy. The candle will go out, you'll end up getting a lot of black soot, the glass will crack. You can also pay attention to how the wax melts. So just saying, if odd things around the area of the candle happen, like certain things kind of just move around in an odd way that they shouldn't be, you shouldn't really be getting any fucking movement, because then, that could have triggered someone's ward. They could have had a passive ward. They could have been a very seasoned practitioner and sent some things your way. Pay attention to things like that. If you don't already have wards up, you should have many. You should have at least a handful of good wards. Basically, kind of all different types, passive, active, astral plane, all that shit. You can make poppets. You can make poppets of another human. Say you don't like a motherfucker, that's a tether. As shitty as that sounds, I'm just telling you what you can do. I don't care to gatekeep things, so I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what the fuck you can do. You can decide for yourself how shitty of a human being you want to be. You can use humans to tether. Obviously, you can use animals, like I said earlier. Not that I would do that. I don't use my my familiars and my pets and stuff to fucking tether to. I don't do that. If anything, I would use a fucking human, a shitty fucking human that I know, and I tether shit to them. So if you know their birthday, or you have an object that's theirs, and you have a little bit of their DNA or something from this person, you can create a poppet with that. For some people, poppets can be a little bit harder to read, but they do show signs, or they can show signs, fraying, cracking, discoloration. The energy manipulation you should be able to see happen on the poppet. If you're having a hard time physically seeing it, do some divination. Pull some cards, scry, pull out your oracle deck, tarot, whatever that you feel the most comfortable using, so you know you're gonna get the results you're looking for. So you can go about it like that. You can make a witch's jar, which also has some other DNA in it. It can be used just like a poppet. You can make a poppet out of clay, you can make it out of corn husk, you can literally go as far as making a doll that looks like the individual, but that's a lot of time and thought into that. So I prefer something that's a little more quick and feasible, but you know, you do you. If you feel like you do not want to tether to another individual, like that really just hurts your little tiny heart, then tether it to a poppet of you. You can already have these. These should be wards in general. That's what a witch's jar or witch's bottle can be. You need a jar of DNA from you, a little bit of everything. Put it in the jar. And then you place a lot of protective materials, herbs, spices in there. And then you bury it on your property. You can have one out front, you can have one out back. If you can't bury it, then place it somewhere that's somewhat close to your front door. If you have a back door or sliding door, and place it somewhere over there. But either way, you want to keep it out of the public's eye as well. So if you have foot traffic going through your home, like your friends and your family, you might not want them to see that. It's going to look kind of fucking weird. Actually, it's better if it's not in the ground, because then you can see what's happening to it. So you can keep it just in a cabinet somewhere. Go over there, check on it if you need to. That can be your tether. You can place sigils in there as well for extra protections of measure. Just burn it, put it in your witch's jar. I can also make one of those and show you guys how to make one. So if you want to see how that's done, we can do that. Poppets of you will have your DNA in it. So if you are afraid to use your own DNA in spells, this probably isn't for you, but you can use your own DNA in spells. You just need to know how to design it properly and everything's gonna be okay. It's a tethered version that doesn't have so much of your essence in it that it's going to impact you. It's going to impact the poppet instead. Okay, so that's like it's like a little trick in order to, because when you make the poppet, you're already putting a little bit of your essence in there. So instead of the backlash taking more than just a little bit of your essence, because if it hits you, it's going to be doing the most damage, especially if it's another practitioner trying to fucking comfort you. So you want your poppet to take the load of the force. And of course, have your fucking wards. Wear your protection amulets and talismans and shit, you know? Don't be a fucking idiot. So that's one way to do a thing. I can show you guys how to make some of those, just in case you don't really understand the concept. I wouldn't necessarily say that's advanced. I think making poppets isn't really the most advanced thing you can do in witchcraft, especially if you're using them as tethers. I use my little clay poppet up myself for just about every fucking thing. Until that thing's completely fucking gone and perished, I probably won't make another one. But I also have a handful of wards around my home. So I don't just rely on one thing. You should never rely on one thing. You can use coconuts. I like using coconuts. I wouldn't suggest using lemons and limes and shit, because, you know, using fruit or vegetables, they can rot typically if you just leave them out in the open anyways. So how the fuck are you going to tell if it's getting hit or not, or having backlash? I would have something that has liquid in it. That's why I chose the coconut, because typically that's going to take a while for it to dry up and start cracking. And you can check on it every day to see if the liquid's still there. And coconuts are great absorbing magical hits and stuff like that. So if someone's out to get you with some baneful magic or returning it back to the sender, coconut will take the hit. You can easily make that tethered version of yourself. It's not too hard to do. You can also cleanse with coconuts. They're great for cleansing. I wouldn't use your tethered coconut as a cleanser, so don't Don't get them confused. Designate it for one thing only. Don't try to use the same coconut to cleanse yourself with once it's already absorbed all that shit, okay? You need a different one, and then enchant it and such for that purpose only. And if you want to tether multiple spells to an object, you can. You can energetically tether something or someone as well. I prefer to have eyes on what I'm tethering, have it near me so I can see how it's changing throughout time. If you just like ran off to the woods and saw a fucking deer and you're like, I'm gonna tether to this deer, and go home, you're not gonna see that deer anymore. You're not gonna know what the fuck even happened to that deer. So if that deer ends up dead, or any tethers that are alive and walking around and doing shit and living their life, not just a plant, like humans and animals, if they die, that severs the connection for your tether. You need to be careful and keep the living things, like humans and animals, if you're trying to tether to that. You need to be close to them, or at least their fucking neighbor, to see what's going on with them and see how it's impacting them. If you don't really have much control of where your tether is and other elements and people can get to it, then it's gonna have interference. It could die way before your spells even come into fruition, because sometimes spells can come into late fruition. You could be waiting 6 months, 8 months for that shit to hit. But when it does, it's usually great when you have to wait that long. You might want to have it in eyeballs length. If you're trying to tether to a human and you don't want to make a puppet, you can also use a photo of them. You can print out a photo, put their name and birth date on it. But if you don't normally see this person on a day-to-day basis, like I was saying earlier about having something that's close to you, then you're not really going to know entirely like what's going on, if it's hitting that person or not, or did it go okay and nothing happened to them at all. You would have to start doing divination at this point in order to tell if the individual has been affected. I still think it's easiest to use a plant. You can literally make a tethering sigil, like I was talking about earlier, burn the sigil, and then sprinkle the ash into the plant pot. That's probably going to be one of your best methods. I think I covered everything, but of course, once I stop rolling, I'll remember by the time I get this video uploaded, and I'm like, shit, I forgot all this crap. I'm gonna harp one more time about wards. Every single person in your household needs a ward. Every living member of your family that you actually give a fuck about, because I understand some people have toxic family members. Like, I cut all my fucking blood family off, so I don't give a fuck about what happens to them. So me, my partner, my 3 cats, his son, you should have wards that don't only protect you, but your whole fucking family that lives within your house. If you ain't got a ward for Henry the hamster yet, then you better fucking make one. Because that motherfucker could be a tether and you don't even fucking know it. It doesn't even have to be you. It could be a fucking stranger tethering and pulling their essence to use for some sort of spell work that wasn't even yours. You never know. And plus, it's good to have wards just to protect your essence from energy vampires. People who practice vampiric magic, they can pull essence from you, from animals, any living surrounding. They can pull that essence from and rejuvenate themselves so they can have more energy. It's important to have these wards for numerous things, not just because you're afraid some motherfucker you don't even know from Brazil's fucking, hexing and cursing your ass. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't even know who the fuck you are. You don't even exist to them. Y'all be scared for no fucking reason, but just make the wards and you'll be fine. You won't even really have to do this. You won't have to be doing tethering and shit. Just have your fucking wards. Make wards for everybody, not just your own selfish ass. Make wards for everyone. If you're making a witch's jar or bottle, whatever the fuck you want to call it, put everyone's DNA in there. Okay? You need to protect every fucking body. Everybody needs a few fucking wards, okay? You should be pretty fucking good if you have all those. If you guys have any questions or anything, please comment below or email me at underneaththeveilofmarigolds@outlook.com. You can find that link in my biography section of my YouTube channel. Until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.